Okay, here we go. 1990 Ford Mustang LX 5.0 5-speed Utah State Highway Patrol vehicle, otherwise known as the SSP edition from Ford, Special Service Package. So this vehicle was found by me in West Virginia. It was brought to West Virginia by the second owner once it was decommissioned. So the vehicle was owned by Utah as a highway patrol car. It was sold to an individual in Utah. That individual owned it for a while, and then the person that I bought it from bought the car, had it for years. I think the last owner, I think it owned the car more than a dozen years. So it's not running. It is complete. It's a crank, no start. Right now, just some quick diagnosis. The fuel pump isn't kicking in when the key is turned. So we check some relays and check the deal in the trunk, the shutoff, and that's all fine. So just from sitting, we're probably looking at needing a fuel pump and tank flushing, etc. Car has special seat bottom in it. This is definitely unique to the police. It's got a zippered bag. I believe that was a shotgun holder. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I've been told it is. Other telltale signs, this car's got some holes in the roof for a light bar. It also has some holes here in the windshield post that would have been for a spotlight, and then you can see those on both sides. Somebody filled them with something and sprayed some paint on them, but they're kind of nasty, but they're there. You also have a trunk antenna delete plug. Now this car has its original paint, which makes it kind of unique. It's still wearing its original Ford painted pinstripes. That's the way the car left Dearborn, Michigan. It would have had these stripes. Hey girls. It's been sitting. It's not technically a barn find. We'll call it a field find, because it was in a field when I found it. And now, looking at the dust and the dirt, she lives in a barn. So this car will be put on the road soon. It's going to need a fuel pump, and again, the tank is probably full of bad fuel, so the tank will come down. It has a few bumps and bruises, but again, the paint on the car is the original paint, and you can just see by the painted on stripes. It matches every single panel. Every panel has its VIN number decal that Ford put on them from the factory. Going under the hood, there's a couple of little quick telltale signs that this is an SSP. Of course, this is validated as an SSP by Kevin Marty at Marty Auto Works. We've already run the VIN and have the Marty reported, showing this vehicle was purchased and used by the state of Utah, but it does have a 5.0. It's got an aftermarket cold air intake, BBK. As you can see, it's got a throttle body spacer or riser, AC delete. Paperwork's in the glove box. Someone took off the compressor, put a down drive pulley, put the power steering where the AC compressor used to be, but you can still see that the lines are there to the evaporator. Of course, the dryer has been removed. One of the telltale signs for the SSP are these blue radiator hoses. You can also see that someone's replaced the radiator with an aluminum Champion variety. Way down in there are the buck plates. There's 2 or 3 of them that are riveted on to the core support, or down there in front of the core support. Those are basically identify the vehicle as a SSP. Someone has added headers, long tube headers, Flowmasters, again the cold air. Hey girl, you look cute sitting in there. So it's got some mods done. It does have a couple rust spots. Nothing through, but it does have on the edge of these doors. You know, for some reason, there's no rust through, just kind of dirty up in there. But the leading edge of the quarter and the back of the doors, I don't know if that's just from driving in the winter weather in Utah, but it does have that rusty stuff on both, I think, yeah, on the leading edge of both quarters. Again, this is not anything other than just, you know, where the paint's thinned out on that corner. There's no holes or anything there. It's just basically an area that will need some attention. It'll need a little bit of prepping and just a little spotting in there. I'm not going to mess with the paint on this car. Quarter glasses, obviously, Foxbodies. The rubber is known to deteriorate just from wear in the sun and ozone or who knows what. But the glasses are, you know, they're showing some wear. There's a little bit of, this is the texture that they ought to be. And then as they wear, they get this really rough, patchy finish to them. And there's a company that you can mail these off to, and they restore them, you know, as best as possible. You know, there's nothing like the original condition ones that aren't damaged, but you can have them cleaned up some. Another feature of the SSP car, which you can verify by doing some Googling around, is the one key setup. So what does that mean? Well, when you bought a Mustang back in the day, they came with 2 keys. You got a square key, such as this one, and it would work only the ignition switch. Your trunk key was round, and you knew you needed the trunk from the ignition just because of square and round. On an SSP car, I got some tape over here hiding the previous owner had a decal on the trunk that I haven't removed yet, so I'm just trying to protect who they are. So anyway, trunk opens with the same key as the ignition. And you can see in here, I've pulled the spare and stuff out just to start trying to do some cleanup. But you got, you know, surface rust down in here. No holes, no rot, but obviously spare tire was riding in there over. This car is a 1990, so you can do the math. It's not new. So that's worn. Again, on this side, you can see that quarter glass. You can see there on the end what it should look like, and then of course what happens from the sun working on it and everything else. So you can actually buy these new. They're reproductions, but they're not near as good as the fit and finish isn't near as good as the factory original. It still has its cloth seats. Obviously, this car is grungy and dirty. Again, what you're seeing is what I saw when I bought it. The only thing I've done is bring it home and basically, push it inside, put a battery in it, and try to fire it. And again, you get no fuel pump when you turn the key. So that's that. Last thing I'll point out that is unique to the patrol car, a special service package vehicle that if you were out looking and you wondered, well, a couple things. Map pocket delete. So most Foxbodies have a map pocket right here that gets all saggy and baggy and looks ugly. So that's not part of this package. Another thing is a 160 mile per hour speedometer with the certified calibration statement there on the bottom. So all of your other Mustang V8 cars are going to have a 140 mile per hour speedometer. This police package, you got 160. So that's just another little thing. If you're out looking at one of these things and you're like, oh, I wonder if this is a highway patrol car. Last thing I want to point out to you, with specifics to SSP, are these grounding straps. This is a special ground that's on the hood. The trunk hinges. There's one on each side. And there's grounds under the car. The exhaust is grounded. This is grounded. And look at these big things. You got massive grounds on either side of the hood. So all that was done, again, as part of the packaging for this. It's just heavier duty stuff, heavier duty cooling, heavier duty this or that. The engine was no different. It didn't make more power from everything I've read. It wasn't like more performance. But there were certain things done to the cars to give them, extra longevity for idling a lot, sitting a lot, and being driven hard, chasing down bad guys. This car has its original car light windows. You can still see that old Together We Can Save Lives sticker that would have came on this car new. And I don't know, I want to say that the windshield is broken now. It needs to be replaced. You can see a crack right there. I'm going to venture to say that the windshield glass is not a car light window. I'm sure it's been replaced a number of times. Oh, dropped my phone there. Sorry about that. Actually, yeah. So it's a PPG replacement window that's in here, which would make sense because, if you do a lot of highway driving, you're going to get rock chips and glass breakage. But again, going back to this is not a cream puff, mint condition, never been driven car. This is an original, unrestored, raw, 1990 Mustang LX 5.0 5-speed SSP. So, yeah, that's a mouthful. But because it is documented and because it is a highway patrol car, it makes it a little bit more unique and, something more to talk about when you go park it somewhere at a car show or cruise in. You can tell people about it and they'll want to ask questions and look at it because everybody remembers, at least I do growing up, cruising down the interstate and having a Mustang 5.0 sitting in the median, radaring and waiting to come out and go after you, especially down in Georgia and South Carolina specifically. I remember these cars. So, looking at nearly 15 minutes of talking and showing you guys, I thought there might be some interest in the Foxbody community. These cars are out there. A lot of them are in the junkyard and have been parted out and have been converted over to race cars because they are lightweight. But this one, of course, does not have any of its police stuff. Like there's no radio, there's no lights, there's no police, equipment in here. I'm sure it was all removed prior to decommissioning. And but again, it's kind of cool to see the telltale signs and see the little things that are there that tell the story of what it was and what it still is. So who knows what kind of life this thing lived. I mean, again, it's not mint, it's not perfect, but I'm sure if it could talk, it could tell some cool stories about chasing down some bad guys and writing some tickets, whoever drove it, whatever trooper it was out there. You see the polished stainless steel tailpipes and stuff like that. That's the signature of the 5-liter Mustang. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little, tutorial. I don't know, call it what you want. But come warmer weather and stuff, we're going to get this sucker cleaned up. Going to vacuum it out, going to shampoo the seats and the carpets, get some good tires on it, drop the tank, get that, what's up? Get the tank either replaced or flushed. And I'll be making more videos, when we're doing all that stuff, because it motivates me to get on it and move forward with a little progress. So for now, thank you everybody for watching, and make some comments if y'all have any questions. If there's any comments or questions regarding the 5.0 5-speed SSP cars, if there's anybody else out there that's got these things. I know that there's a few that make the show rounds to the Foxbody shows, that are completely done up. I mean, put back the way they were. I mean, they got the radios in them, they've got the gun racks, they've got the cool lighting and the decals and logos. Oh, one last thing. So if you notice, we talked about the pinstripes and how that they're actually hand painted stripes. But what I wanted you to know is if you Google and you look up Utah State Patrol, they have like a very unique logo, and it went somewhere in here. And there's no stripe right there because that logo that was on the door took up this area. I don't know what it is, their logo. It's kind of looks like a honeycomb or something, but on both doors, the stripes missing, almost like they rubbed it off. And right there would have been the Utah State Patrol special logo on the doors. I think that's the only logo it got. It might have had something along the trunk lid. I'm not sure. But I've went online, I've Googled some pictures, saved them, and I even thought about going on somewhere and ordering some of those, just maybe as like magnets to stick on it. That if I go to a car show or cruising or something and park it out there, put those magnets on there while it's sitting still and parked. I don't want to get in any trouble driving it and thinking I'm impersonating a police officer or something like that, but I thought it would be cool. So anyway, thanks everybody, and take care.